Hey. Alright, so this is what a lot of people do when you first start off. They just go over with a airbrush, and they use the color black, and then they just go over with some white because, oh, shadows are dark and, you know, highlights are white, so that must mean you use white and black. But no, there's more colors than that, okay? And it just creates this very muddy, like newbie kind of look to it. If you like that, then that's okay, but I would like to do things a little bit differently, and if you do too, then, you know, follow along. So you're going to want to get a clean base first, of course. Alright, and then after you clear out the pupils, we could just go around the edges so that you could thin out the line of the iris, okay? The iris is the entire big colorful part. The pupil is the little dot in the middle, okay? Yeah, educational. Alright. Anyways, I just had to tap the mic to make sure it was working. So you're going to select the white part of the eye and get a gray that's leaning a bit towards blue, okay? That creates a cool gray. Beautiful. And now you're going to get white and an airbrush and just dab it on the side just to make it look like it's blending a little bit, to make it look like the shadow is blending a little bit with everything else, okay? Yeah. And now just make a new layer, and we're gonna start making the pupil now, okay? So using dip pen hard, we are now, you can use the circle, or you can use the, what's the name of the ellipse? Yeah, there we go. And then you could just drag it over to the spot you wanted, which is why we did it on a new layer, okay? And then alpha lock it, and then you are going to get a darker color, and you are going to go all around it and just leave a bit of the lighter color at the top, kind of just like a, you know, just like a circle, like a little ball, okay? And now you can just duplicate that layer and move it over to your other eye, and you could squeeze it for a little bit more perspective. My neighbor's kid is screaming. I used to think it was an emergency, then I just see him playing in the street. Imagine playing, imagine having friends, never mind. Okay, so imagine being a famous YouTuber in a room all day. So now we're just going to go, that is so sad. We're going to go and create just this big shadow using a very, very dark blue, or a dark version of whatever your base color is. And the lower down you go, the thinner you get, okay? But at the top, you have a very big shadow, you know? And don't be afraid to make it really, really, really dark, okay? I went like as probably dark as I could without making it black. Try to keep everything similar to your base color so that everything can tie together much better, okay? This doesn't just go for eye shading, it can go for many other things, okay? Don't be shy to just refine it a bit, and if your stuff is shaky, use a stabilizer. Alrighty, I think that looks pretty good. So, next step, you are gonna want to, you can deselect everything, but it doesn't really matter, okay? So, you are going to want to merge things, create a new layer, get multiply, and we are just creating a shadow going halfway across the eye, just halfway across it, okay? Yeah, it looks good. Okay, and now I'm just using an eraser with a airbrush and just, you know, blending it a little bit by erasing it, creating a new layer above all of that, and going to just get a lighter version of that really, really dark shadow, and then a lighter version, much lighter version of our base color, and just putting it at the bottom there, okay? More contrast and everything makes your eye pop out a lot. Alright, new layer, add, and now we're creating just these little, well, big or little, just giant, very saturated orbs, okay? I'm just erasing the top so that the pupil is more visible. Nice. And then I'm getting a smudge brush, and I'm just smudging the ends, only the ends, and just smudging it up a little bit, making it kind of wrap around the pupil, okay? And now I'm just getting white, and I am creating the little highlights. I really love adding the highlights. It makes your character look from like psychotic to, you know, sane. Like, just look at the difference. It's so satisfying. That's just what a little white dot can do, okay? So you can do your highlights however you want. Try to slowly add them to see where your character looks sane or happy enough. Don't overdo it or they might look like they're crying. Anyways, so now just getting one big highlight so it could bring the white of the eye and the pupil and everything kind of together. Yeah. Wonderful. I'm just getting a blue color around and then getting some white to just put inside the middle of it because I feel like it helps it pop out a little bit more. Yeah. Anyways, I'm just merging everything down, okay? And then I will just blur the edges of the iris. If your blur is too strong, then just lower the opacity, which will lower the strength of it, okay? The strength of your brush should not be very high because we only want to blur the edges just to make it look softer. And just like dab it around the inside of the eye, but like don't go too crazy with it, okay? Now we're just going to be selecting the eyelashes because I want to bring a little bit of warmth in there, okay? So now we are going to go and grab an airbrush and just dabbing it on the edges of the eyelash just to make it, you know, look a lot nicer. Oh, here's a tip, by the way. Use whatever's on the opposite side of the color wheel to make your stuff pop out more, okay? It's called complementary colors. Alright? Like blue is kind of the opposite of orange. So that's why I'm using oranges here, and they just look really pretty together. Just like you and me would. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, so now we have an overlay layer, and we're just going at the bottom and the tops of the eye. So whatever parts you feel like you want to glow. Then on a new layer, which is just normal, you could use an airbrush, you could use Dip Pen Soft, whatever you want. And I'm just creating little details on the eyelash so that it all just kind of goes together nicely. You see that? I think that looks great. Anyways, now I'm using Dip Pen Soft or Dip Pen Hard, whichever one. I use Dip Pen Hard because I want more solid shadows. Not shadows, more of a solid appearance. And I'm just creating little eyelashes. And then I'm getting a more saturated version of the skin color and just going under the eye and then up here too. And you see, I think it just looks really nice. It looks very saturated. Anyways, that you could add more eyelashes or less, you know, depending on how feminine you want your character to look. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like. See ya!